Authorities in Germany have launched massive search operations in connection with 10 suspected Iranian spies. A spokesman for Berlin's Federal Prosecutor's Office says that the suspects are believed to have spied on institutions and persons in Germany on behalf of the Iranian government. Acting on a tip-off from Germany's intelligence, authorities are currently conducting raids across the country. A Pakistani national by the name of Mustafa Haider was last year imprisoned for 4 years when he was found guilty of spying on a politician belonging to the Social Democratic Party of Germany, but also a former president of a German-Israel Friendship Society. The Pakistani was also accused of spying on an Israeli professor at an institute in Paris. Authorities suspect that the spy was scouting sites where terror attacks could be staged. However, the authorities have declined to comment whether today's search too involves spies who were tailing Israelis in Germany. The Pakistani spy Mustafa Haider had arrived in Germany in 2012 to study engineering at the University of Bremen. He also worked part-time at the German Center for Space and Aviation. Haider reportedly gathered the minutest details of the daily routines of both the men he was shadowing, compiled videos and photographs and was passing them on to his contact in Iran. Germany's Süddeutsche Zeitung daily reported that German authorities at the time believed that the Iranian Quds Brigade are behind the espionage in Germany. The Quds Brigade is a special unit of Iran's Revolutionary Guards and operate exclusively overseas. Reports suggest that Iranian intelligence operatives are the second most active in Germany after spies from Russia, with a focus on Israeli targets specifically. According to an Interior Ministry report, German authorities launched investigations into 22 cases of espionage by Iran during the past decade. And joining us on this story, we have our senior foreign editor, Padma Rao. Padma, good evening to you and thank you very much for joining. This is quite a big story, I would have to say. German authorities looking for as many as 10 Iranian spies. Any idea what these spies were doing in Germany?
Well, according to some reports, there are even 20 Iranian spies, and what the police are right now doing is that they've launched a kind of a massive operation, a cross-country operation to search and to perhaps interrogate various people who are associated with these guys. Now, going by the example of the Pakistani origin, the Pakistani national last year, who was, so to speak, on contract to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the police, the media are surmising that the chief targets are Jewish Germans. Now, there aren't those many, there are only about 99,000 Jewish Germans who live in Germany, and it's a very small population, and yet, so that's about one Jew for every 800 people, every 800 citizens. So those are, Jewish citizens have not been the primary target. Unfortunately, the German government, has certainly taken some decisive steps, like summoning the Iranian ambassador last month on the heels of the arrest of the Pakistani national, but it is going to be a balancing, tightrope walk for Foreign Minister Sigmar Gabriel, because, as you know, Daniel, both Brussels and Berlin are very keen on enhancing trade with Iran, because they feel that change in Iran can come about through trade, and also, of course, keeping the nuclear deal in mind, which the European Union and Berlin very much want to keep alive.
This kind of leads me in my question, which is, as of now, in the scenario of Iran being a lot, let's say in the words of many countries in the world, where is Germany at? Because we know that France, for instance, vocally defended the nuclear deal, but we don't know much about Germany. Where are they at? Are they pro-Iran? Are they critical of what is happening? Where are they?
Well, there's a lot of, I think the Germans can never get it right, at least the administration in Berlin, because there's always someone who's willing to criticize them. For instance, last year there was a judge from Iran who was responsible for several executions, or signing on the dotted line on several executions. And there were human rights groups, and also the Greens, the Green Party, that who criticized the government of Germany for not taking a firmer stance and for even allowing this man in for medical treatment. Now, that is a grey area because, the Germans don't feel that this is a mass sort of genocide committed by one judge. Certainly there are executions which one doesn't approve of in Iran, but So there's a very, fine dividing line between what the public thinks and wants its government to do and what the government in Berlin is actually going to do. And largely because the two countries have always had a good relationship. And as I said, the primary target for both the European Union as well as Berlin is to enhance trade with Iran. So it'll have to be a very fine balancing act. And let's not forget, finally, Daniele, that overall, the focus is, of course, on anti-terror mechanisms. But then one must point out that the majority of terror attacks, both in Germany as well as across the European Union, have come not at the hands of, Iranian-backed militants or terrorists, but Islamist terrorists, primarily from the Islamic State. And that, again, is in retaliation for these Western countries being part of the anti-terror coalition led by the United States in those countries. Iran, of course, falls into a different category. Iran has not, seen such a backlash on the ground. It has not been the venue of the anti-terror war. It's, right now, this is, I think their primary target is Israel and Jewish people around the world.
Thank you very much. Please, Padma, keep tracking this story for us. This was our senior editor, foreign affairs editor, Padma Rao, helping us to understand what is going on in Germany. It seems that authorities in Germany are looking for 10 Iranian spies. What they were doing in Germany is not clear. Perhaps they were targeting the Jewish community. We will follow up this story.